Ethan's Place, a true story of justice, community, and the boy who changed everything. What would you do if you saw an adult woman spit directly into the face of a disabled child? Would you freeze? Would you scream? Would you step in, even if it meant facing consequences yourself? For me, this wasn't a hypothetical question. It was the worst day of my life, yet somehow it became the beginning of something transformative. Let me rewind. My name is Daniel Rivers. I'm an IT consultant working remotely from our home in Pinehurst Estates, a quiet HOA-run community just outside Seattle. My wife, Monica, is a retired Navy SEAL, of the very few women to have earned the Trident. These days, she teaches self-defense at a local gym, a job that keeps her grounded but still connected to that part of her past. And then there's our son, Elijah. Elijah is 9 years old. He was born with mild cerebral palsy and walks using a pair of specialized forearm crutches. That never stopped him. Not once. He's brilliant, curious, stubborn like his mom, and joyful in a way that makes you forget the world can be cruel. We moved to Pinehurst Estates 2 years ago. The neighborhood looked perfect on paper. Good schools, clean parks, and amenities we thought would support Elijah's needs. But beneath the pristine exterior was an HOA straight out of a dystopian sitcom, complete with obscure bylaws, excessive fines, and one woman ruling it all with an iron clipboard. Colleen Trask. Colleen, the HOA president, was in her early 50s, but her demeanor belonged to someone far older, far colder. Her voice always hovered at the edge of confrontation, and her expression resembled someone perpetually sniffing a sour lemon. We've been warned by neighbors' jokes, mostly. Careful with Colleen. She fined us for having wind chimes. I took it all with a grain of salt. Until the day I couldn't anymore. It was an unseasonably warm Saturday in April. Elijah had been stuck indoors most of the week, so when the clouds cleared, I offered to take him to the community playground. His face lit up like it was Christmas morning. We talked the whole walk about his bean planting experiment for science class, how he was testing different lighting conditions. He was so proud, bubbling over with facts and possibilities. The playground was nearly empty when we arrived. Just a couple of moms sitting on the benches by the sandbox, their toddlers digging happily in the sand. Elijah made a beeline for the swings, his favorite. I helped him settle in, carefully placing his crutches within reach. Then I started pushing. "Higher, Dad," he squealed. I laughed and obliged. For a moment, it was just us. Pure joy. The kind that makes you forget life is anything but fair. And then I saw her, Colleen Trask, walking briskly toward us, clipboard in hand. My stomach tightened. I'd seen that walk before at HOA meetings, where she shut down every attempt at compromise or community input. "Excuse me," she said, her tone a syrupy mockery of civility. "I need to speak with you about those." She pointed to Elijah's crutches. I stopped pushing the swing and stepped slightly in front of my son, shielding him instinctively. "What about them?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. "They're not permitted in the playground," she said, tapping her pen against the clipboard. Section 9, Paragraph 4 of the HOA bylaws. No sporting equipment or mobility devices within the perimeter. It's a tripping hazard. These are medical devices, I replied. He has cerebral palsy. Rules are rules, she said, her eyes narrowing. Regardless of the reason. By now, Elijah had stopped swinging. He watched us with a confused, anxious expression. "There's no one else here," I pointed out. "And he needs them to walk." "That's not my problem," she snapped. "Either take them off the playground or leave." I took a slow breath. "Colleen, under the Americans with Disabilities Act, you cannot prevent a disabled child from using assistive devices in a public space." That's when her smile turned venomous. "Do you know what these houses cost?" she hissed. "People don't pay high HOA fees to look at children like that. It lowers the value." I froze. Elijah heard her. I saw it on his face. My beautiful, joyful boy now confused and humiliated. "Dad," he whispered, "did I do something wrong?" "No, son," I said, kneeling next to him. "You didn't do anything wrong. She's just mistaken about the rules." "I am not mistaken," Colleen barked, whipping out her phone and starting to record. You are in violation. This will be a formal report. First offense, $200 fine. I was done being calm. We'll leave. But this is discrimination, and I'm bringing it up with the board. Her voice rose. How dare you accuse me? And then it happened. Colleen stepped past me, leaned over Elijah and spit. Right into his face. Everything stopped. Time slowed. I saw the saliva hit my son's cheek. Saw the way his eyes widened. Saw him start to cry, not a loud cry, but one of those soul-shattering, silent sobs. I stood paralyzed. Something primal cracked inside me, but I didn't get the chance to move. Monica arrived. She'd been walking back from the store, grocery bags now scattered at her feet. Later, she told me she saw everything from the moment Colleen began recording. All I know is that in 3 swift, precise seconds, my wife was behind Colleen, swept her legs out from under her, and had her restrained face down on the rubber mulch. Colleen's phone skittered away. You can't do this. Colleen shrieked. This is assault. Monica calmly zip-tied her wrists. You assaulted a disabled child. That's a hate crime in this county. Parents around us were frozen, then scrambling, phones raised, some dialing 911. One father called out, got it on video. All of it. 12 minutes later, police arrived. Officer Lewis and Officer Sharma, both clearly trying to make sense of the scene. A woman zip-tied, crying discrimination, a Navy SEAL mom standing firm, and a sobbing little boy in my arms. Once the situation was explained and videos reviewed, everything shifted. They arrested Colleen on the spot. Assault on a minor. Discrimination under the ADA. Possible hate crime enhancement. Her face, when the cuffs clicked, was unforgettable. All her power, gone in a single afternoon. But the story didn't end there. That night, neighbors began knocking on her door. The Rodriguezes brought cookies. The Chins came with stories of Colleen's past harassment. One woman admitted she'd been fined for a breast cancer awareness flag. Another for installing a ramp for her aging father. We weren't alone. The HOA held an emergency meeting the next evening. Colleen was removed unanimously. In her place, a new board formed, one that cared. They apologized. Publicly. They created an inclusion committee. They rewrote bylaws. And most importantly, they announced the construction of a fully accessible playground. They called it Elijah's Place. Monica cried when she saw the blueprints. I did too. Colleen was convicted. Sentenced to 6 months, suspended, 500 hours of community service working with disabled children. Her husband left. Her job let her go. Elijah? He healed. Slowly. With therapy, love, and the knowledge that his mom really was a superhero. That justice mattered. That he mattered. Today, Elijah's Place is the heart of our neighborhood. Not because it has the best equipment, but because it stands for something. For inclusion. For accountability. For the belief that when one child is harmed, an entire community can rise up and say, not here. Elijah swings higher now. Without fear. And Colleen Trask, she didn't break us. She made us stronger.